Is it weird that my friend thinks bathing with his infant son is gross? OMG. I laughed so hard at this. Not in a condescending way. It made me remember when I came home to my husband bathing the twins. With the dogs. Sigh. The kids and the dogs smelled like wet dog. He said it saved time. Dying laughing. I always had little tubs that went inside the tub. That way the baby can't simply drown and you don't have to get inside. I don't bathe with my kids. But it's not because I think it's gross. It's just easier for me to manage the bath when I'm not physically in it. I must admit, I don't do it, but I don't think it's gross. I just wouldn't ruin a comfortable bath by putting a baby in it with me. I don't mind giving my kids a bath, just not with me in it. I don't see the benefit of doing it at all. I don't think it's gross, but I also didn't find it super practical. With two parents, one person would hop in the shower, get handed the baby for a quick rinse off, and then hand them back so the other parent can dry and dress them. Both parent and baby needing to get dried and dressed at the same time sounds like a pain. It's not objectively weird. It's not objectively not weird. This is a to each their own thing. If he was expressing an opinion about his comfort level bathing with his children, then you're being oversensitive. If he thinks everyone who bathes with their children is sketchy for doing so, then he's being judgmental. I personally shower rather than bathe, and I never showered with my kids. It wasn't a modesty thing. I was a law student doing an internship, and one of the cases was a father who was showering with his infant son, and the soapy baby slipped out of his hands. The baby died, and the father was then charged with child abuse, resulting in death because the police didn't believe it was a true accident. I could never get that image out of my head. Man, I would shower with my son right up until he decided my nads were a speed bag. It was never weird or gross, it's just a dad bathing his kid. When it comes to most relatively normal things a parent does with their kids, it's only weird if you're sexualizing it, which makes you in the wrong for sexualizing a child. The baby needs to get clean, and he can't do it himself yet. You also need to get clean. There's nothing wrong here unless you are allowing it to be weird. Maybe he just thinks it's gross the way Seinfeld thought about hot tubs. It never once occurred to me to bath with our two sons. It would be weird because I shower and don't run a tub ever, so the whole thing would feel odd. Bathing kids becomes a chore too, and the last thing I would want is to drag it out. Bedtime is next too, so there is always that to look forward to. I don't recall our kids dropping a deuce in the tub, but I think I do recall some pee flying around. So there's that too. Before any of my kids were born, when my wife and I would talk about having kids, I'd get the occasional intruding thought. And no, it wasn't an obsession or anything more than fleeting. Along the lines of, my God, what happens if I'm like a perv seeing my kid's naked? Turned out to all be for naught, they're just your kids. But, although we bathed the kids together for their first couple of years, we never, both or independently less than as far as I know, took baths with them. Could be your friend had the same sort of feeling, and this is just an overreactive defense mechanism on his part. The bigger, weird thing for me would be those parents who felt comfortable with it and then didn't stop at an appropriate age. I would never bathe with my son in the same water. I find that gross for him. He has eczema too, so I wouldn't risk a flare-up because I decided to soak him in my germs, bacteria. I do leave him in his stroller in the bathroom while I take a shower. Though, anyway, maybe that's what OP's friend meant by gross. And not in a sexual way like many people here are saying. I took my son in the shower with me all the time when he was old enough to sit there and play with His toys. Get him washed and me at the same time. Had to stop though when he pointed and asked what's that? Lol. Nah, your friend sounds like one of those, I don't wipe because touching butts is gay, dudes. I mean, personally, I think it's odd. But everyone's different. Baths and tubs in general are odd to me since you don't get clean sitting in dirty water. Not weird at all. I always took baths with my kiddo. Have the baby in the bath with you or the room with you. Normal to have the baby in a carrier or mini crib or something and bring that into the bathroom so you can bathe, shower without constantly thinking, was that the baby, and ruining your shower. Nowadays I think people just bring the monitor in instead of the baby. Actually bathing together though, I think that's a lot less common. From a practicality stand it just seems inconvenient. You're both soaking wet when it's time to get out. You stand there naked, wet, and getting colder by the second as you carefully dry baby, then diaper and dress, and finally settle into bed. Then you can get yourself sorted. Or you have to stop taking care of baby partway through so you can take care of yourself. Either way it sounds like a headache to me. Neither of these are weird. Most people are fine and do bathe with their small children. Some people are more conservative with nudity and stuff like that and may find it weird. It's really just how you feel about it. But for most people it's viewed as normal and not gruesome. Just seems totally unnecessary to me. It's very common. Your friend is the weird one for sexualizing it. He didn't have to say that's what he was thinking. There is no other reason to say it's gross. Nudity isn't always sexual. Duh. Maybe it was in his family? It is not inherently wrong or gross. However, people who have encountered childhood sexual abuse, either experienced it themselves or had a loved one who suffered with it, might feel that it subjects the child to unnecessary proximity to an adult's genitals. Unfortunately, adult family members are the most likely person a child would experience sexual abuse from.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.